In this video, I'm going to talk about why I bought a Canon R5 and a 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro within 3 weeks of each other. Yes, it was a very expensive summer, and from now on, you'll find me eating pasta, sleeping on the floor, and not buying toilet paper. Just kidding. I bought my original camera, which was the Canon 80D, back in 2019, just before I started this channel, and that camera lasted until now. And it still works, by the way. It's just that now, something better, this camera, will take its place. You know what? Maybe we should set it up as a B cam right now. So there it is right now. I'm kind of out of frame a little bit, but we'll work with it. This is my first video using two cameras here. But you know, it's still in great condition and I've never had a problem with it at all. It's just sitting over there very nicely in the corner. Anyway, you know, it's been a very good workhorse camera for the past 2.5 years. If you go back to the summer of 2020 in this video right here, you'll see that I talked about not buying things during summer, and I coincidentally bought 2 things during summer, but anyway, that's beside the point. You'll see that I was looking at buying the R6. But I will admit that back then I didn't fully understand the capabilities of that camera, so I wouldn't have been able to use it to its fullest potential. Fast forward 2 years and the R5 is now in my possession and it's a dream to use. It can shoot 8K video in RAW, which is like a super high quality codec, and it can be manipulated and pushed further in post-production, and I'm probably never going to use it. But one look at the sample photos from this camera and you can just see how great it is. Granted, this subject is sitting still, but if you zoom in and you look at how sharp the picture is, it's tack sharp all the way through. The tracking on this camera is also exceptional. I've never seen anything like it. I know there was eye tracking with the EOS R from 2018, but it's been heavily improved with the R5. My old camera, this camera, only had face tracking, which you can see being used here. But now with the R5, there's also eye tracking, which you can also see being used here. In addition to eye tracking, there's animal eye tracking, so I can focus on, well, the eyes of animals. This is a huge step up from my old camera, considering there was no type of animal tracking at all. In addition to animal tracking, there's also vehicle tracking, which you can see being used here. If I wanted to take a picture of a moving car before I had this camera, I would have to just press down the shutter button and follow the car, and there would be no tracking. So I would just have to hope that I was able to get the car in focus. Now there's active tracking, so essentially all I have to do is hold down the shutter and the hoping is gone, because the tracking does all the work for me. But you know, some part of me thinks that maybe this is just a little bit too easy. Like, I can stand here and just hold down this button and take a picture, and 9.999 times out of 10, the autofocus is just gonna do its thing and I'll be fine. Yes, you still have to be there to take the picture, but it's almost like the process of setting up the shot and getting everything in focus right and making sure everything is pristine. Like, the art of that is being lost. I think that partially has to do with things like Photoshop and Lightroom, AI, and you know, all that kind of stuff also. All we do is we let the autofocus take over, and then you can manipulate things in Lightroom with the click of a button. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see right here, we're on Lightroom, and even if I just come up to, I believe it's right here, masking, and I can just come to select sky, and then it's gonna detect the sky, and boom, there you go. It's literally that easy. Now the sky is selected, I can change the exposure of the sky, you know, I can change the shadows in the sky, I can change the temperature of the sky. Like, it's so simple and it's so easy. And compared to before, you would have to literally go and like mask out the sky, and then you would have to, you know, do all these different layers and all this kind of stuff. And now it's like, oh yeah, you just press one button, the sky is selected, and that's basically it. So that's what I mean by, you know, things are getting easier with AI and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's still up to me to be able to see and visualize this picture and be like, oh, I think that would look sick, you know, let me take a picture of this. So I hope that made sense. So as you can see there, I just clicked one button and the sky was selected. You can do the same for subjects just as easily, and that's what I mean by the art of things being lost. But also at the end of the day, it's just a tool. The AI can't take the picture for you. The AI doesn't know what looks good or what's gonna evoke the most emotion in people. That's still the job of the photographer. But enough with the R5, let's talk about this 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro. Put simply, this laptop is a beast. If you compare it to my old laptop, there's a night and day difference, and rightfully so because they came out 6 years apart. My old laptop still works, and I'll probably still use it for light browsing, watching YouTube and stuff like that, but when it comes to editing, this is the one I'm going to be using now. As you can see, if I open an old project here, it still scrubs through the timeline just fine, but when you start zooming in and out, other things like that, you can see it's struggling a little bit. Doing the same thing on the new one shows the newness and the speed of it, if that makes sense. But put simply, these things are investments that I've made into my career, and while I didn't want to spend this much money on these items, it had to be done sooner or later. This camera is going to help me shoot higher quality video to make things look better, and this laptop is going to help me edit those videos faster and create things faster to output more work and in turn do more work, if that makes sense, because then you're doing more work in a shorter amount of time. But at the end of the day, these things are just things. Yes, they can help me shoot 4K instead of 1080. Yes, they can help me edit faster, but if I'm not taking good pictures, or if I'm not coming up with good scripts or coming up with good B-roll and making my lighting look good, these things can't help me fix that. It's like those people that think you can just buy skill. You just can't do it. I still have to put in the time and the effort to know what's gonna look good and what's gonna look bad. As I've said before, and I'm gonna say it again, investing in your career is never a bad option. Could I have waited to purchase these things? Sure, I could have. But I saw an opportunity to get these items to hopefully advance my career, and I took a chance. My last laptop lasted me 7 years and it still works to this day. My last camera I got in 2019 and it still works to this day. I've never had a problem with either one of them. Investing in your career is a necessity because if you don't do it, nobody else will. And investing in your career doesn't mean that you have to go back to school. It can mean buying that new lens that you think will make your photos better. It could mean paying a chef to make you better food because you're an athlete. It can be any one of those things. I just so happen to like technological advancements like laptops and cameras and stuff like that. So this is also me feeling good about buying a new laptop and a new camera. To end off the video, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that these things are gonna last me a very long time because they were very expensive. And for the record, I'm not only eating pasta, I still have my bed, and I definitely still have toilet paper. And as always, thanks for watching.